Hi, it's Captain Mike here with you again. Today we're going to talk about how to make display stands. One of my viewers asked about this some time ago, and unfortunately I have forgotten who it was, or I would give them credit for suggesting this. But I got to thinking about it and come up with several ideas. Now I want you all to understand that most of this here is just proof of concept. The edges may be rough, the circles might not be quite correct. I'll tell you some of the things that you can do to correct it, and then you can use your own imagination and go from here, because that's what most of my videos are about. I want to just kind of nudge your imagination a little bit. You look at what I do and say, gosh, that old guy can do that, I can do better. So I want you to do better. So here's where I stand now on this, and as I said, it's all proof of concept. My initial idea, and basically still my best idea, I think, is to make the display stands out of float glass, because I have a lot of float glass. It's readily available to everyone, and it's pretty easy to work with. The first stands that I made was stands like this. It looks just like a card holder. In fact, you could make one like this and use it for a business card holder. It would be a great idea. You can make them a little bigger, and even like this one here that has these butterflies in it. Now, there are some issues with these, and as we get back to these, I will kind of show you what those issues are and how I'm going to overcome them. The next idea that I had was super simple. It's just to cut square or round pieces of glass and cut yourself a piece of PVC pipe. You could even use the square downspout that you can get at the big box stores. One piece section's not very expensive, and you could make a lot of stands out of them. Paint them to whatever color that you want. This one happens to be flat black, and all you have to do is place it on there. If you want it to be more permanent, just run you a little bead of glue, some E6000 or something, and boom, it's there. It won't go away. In this case, I have this little ceramic bottle on it, and you've got yourself a display stand. The next idea was to make a square one, and all I did, in this case, it's super glued, and super glue is not my first choice, but for proof of concept, it's a lot faster. I don't have to wait 24 hours. I just cut 4 pieces of glass, exactly the same height, figured the width out, how I wanted it to be rectangular, whether I wanted it to be square. I cut another piece of glass and put it on it, and again, you can glue this down, but you just set something on it. You have a display stand, a really neat display stand. Now, I will mention this, on this one, I just ground the edges. I have a little lap grinder over there. If you don't have a lap grinder, then you know, it's going to be difficult, but you can grind it by hand if you wanted to use various assorted tools. I'm not going to get into the real tools you need, because you can get really exotic. The better tools you got, the quicker this is going to go. But you know, everybody, if you're fooling with this, you've got a glass cutter. You know how to cut glass. If you don't, you will learn how. And you can, this one is ground, as I said. This one I haven't done anything. Well, I ground it a little bit to get sharp edges so I wouldn't cut myself. And what you can do with either one of these now is you can put them in your little kiln and fire them to a glass polish or just a regular slump, a low fire slump, and it'll smooth and round the edges off. And I'll show you an example of that in a little while. And then you've got a finished product, and that's all you have to do to get something as simple as a display stand, you know, like this. Come on, Mike, knock it over. You know, it's that simple. Okay, I really like them, and they're easy to make. They're cheap to make. They don't cost anything whatsoever, and you know, they'll actually hold some quite big things. I just happen to like this little bottle. So that's the simple ones. These are very simple too, and it's the same deal. You cut your 3 pieces of glass, or in the case of these rounded edges that I've already put in the kiln and rounded everything off, you cut 2 pieces of glass. And you can also just cut your glass and grind the edges. Same thing, whether it's ground or whether it's polished, it does not matter. Then you take one of the pieces, you've already done the math, so you know what size stuff you want. I'm not giving you any sizes because everything you do is going to be different. So you'll have to do your math. Now, once you get this piece here, it's going to be two pieces, and you know that to start with. Score it, crack it, and all you have to do, if you want to grind that, you can, but it's going to be pretty flat, pretty straight. Put it where you need it and glue it. Again, you can use Gorilla Glue, works really good, this clear Gorilla Glue, or you can use the E6000, and you could even try super glue. I mean, I've just found that super glue doesn't have any tensile strength, any shear strength, but that's me. I use it just on proof of concept stuff. Now, here is a big tip on this right here. It almost has to be a custom built piece unless you know the thickness of whatever you're doing. In this case, it's a piece of single strength glass, and I put the little butterflies on it, and I did a tack fire. So it's 1/4 of an inch right here. And if you're not careful, you really need to put the piece in it that you want to put in it. And I'll show you what you do to make sure it's going to fit when the glue dries. You need to clamp it just like this. You see how I have this piece clamped? I clamped it, and I put a piece of paper, doubled up cardboard paper in here. You may have to put more. You're going to have to experiment. But once you get the paper in there and you get your clamps proper, then you take it and you glue it to this piece right here and let it sit. And supposedly, when it dries, if all goes according to plan, when you unclamp it, this piece will be just a little loose because the paper will come out. Now, I haven't tried that yet, but that is my way of working around this loosey thing here, okay? Because I just guessed on these, it's too thin. You see, it would take a single strength piece of glass, not single strength, but 3mm. This here is too loose, because I was just shooting off the hip. I mean, I was just gluing them where I thought they needed to be. I did a little measuring, and I was wrong. But that's all you have to do, and you've got those. Now, what I do on this to make it where it will fit is you can cut you some pieces. It doesn't matter what kind of glass, plate glass. This is just single strength plate glass, and you can drop it behind it. Cut it to the size you want. That didn't work, did it? So we'll do it a different way. You'll have to cut it the length that you want it, the height you want it, but you see it straightens it up. Now you can see it here, I'm sure, but if you cut it the height of this and slide it in there, it's not going to kick back and forth, and it's going to stand straight, and you've got a pretty good display. I know it's over the butterflies. These are all things that you've got to overcome. You've got to figure out what you're going to display, how you're going to display it, and how you're going to design this. And I've got one other little quick piece to show you. And by the way, you can do all of these out of colored, it doesn't matter. I've got them made out of everything that you can think of. The last design is one I'm working on. Okay, I haven't worked out all the details yet, but it's one like this. Okay, I have them in 2 sizes right now, and I'm fixing to have a 3rd size, a smaller one than even this. Now, what I did to get this shape is I worked clay also. So I took and I rolled out a sheet of clay approximately 1/4 of an inch thick. And in this case, I draped it over a gallon jug, and it made this size. I have some larger jars that I used to make the larger size. So whatever size jar you're going to use is going to determine the curvature of this ceramic mold. That was clay. I made the piece just like this greenware right here. This one has not been cleaned up or fired. I made it using this. I just took and laid it over it and pushed it down to the curvature of the wine bottle, let it dry. Now the problem is it wants to lift, and then you have to be careful to get it straight. If you don't get it exactly straight on the edges here, it doesn't want to sit nice and even. This is not too bad, but you know, if they're not nice and straight when you lay the glass on there, then you're going to have to straighten the glass up when it slumps over this. What I do is I take me a piece of glass and I just lay it on top like this, balance it, and put it into a slump fire. Just a regular slump, or not a deep slump. I guess you could do deep slump, but whatever your kiln will let you do, and it'll just contour. Once you get that back out of the kiln, and it is got the curvature in it, and then you're going to have to make sure that it doesn't wobble. And again, a flat lap works great for that. If not, you're just going to have to take you some carborundum sandpaper and grind, but you can get it there. Now here's the tricky part. I've only done one of these, and it was a reasonable success, but I really sweated it the whole time. And that was cut this little groove in there. I have a tile saw, a 10-inch tile saw that I can push the carriage up under it. I have a regular 6-inch one too, and that is one other thing you can do. You can do it this way and push the blade through this way and make your cuts. I did it this way. There's a lot of pressure on it. You know, you're going to have to clean up the parts right here, but it's getting there. It's getting there. This was the first one. This is what I drew on it. You see, I just drew the slot. In this case, it's a 1/2-inch slot, and this piece probably won't make the cut. How about that? Won't make the cut. It'll probably break, but it's an idea, and I may try this one on the 6-inch saw this way. There won't be as much stress. I'll just have to see when the weather is good if I can do that. Now, what I'm going to do on that is let's take this loose right here. This is designed, well, actually I have something else. Let me get it. That would work, but this is even better. More better. You can display things like this. Now, what you display, again, is going to depend on how big your slot is, how narrow your slot is, what you're going to do. Be prepared for a lot of failures, and until you get the idea down to what you want to do. But if I wanted to display these little whoop-de-doos like that, or a knife blade, a napped long knife blade or something that you wanted to do, that would work great. It also works pretty good on this. I haven't decided exactly what I wanted to do, thinking about, because it goes all the way to the floor, so to speak, and again, it's a little on the big side. It wants to do this. But I'm thinking about it. I want you all to think about it, come up with an idea. It is pretty neat. It is pretty neat. If you can do them with enough arc to them, you could set it like that. And then, of course, if you had your slot, this slot's way too big, then it would stay. And of course, you could put a little silicone in there, and it would hold it. But yet you could clean it up if you ever wanted to take it apart. So the silicone would be an idea. Remember I told you in a video or two to get you a caulking gun and buy you a tube of clear all-purpose 100% silicone, and you're always going to use it. So that is all of the float glass ideas I have, and I've got just a couple of other things that you can do, and we're going to wind this up. Now, you can use anything to make these stands. Here's some plexiglass. This is just plexiglass. I don't like it, but I cut a fancy little hole there. If you wanted to do that, you wanted to glue the plexiglass down, you could most certainly do plexiglass, and you could paint it, you could do whatever you wanted to do, and it would work absolutely wonderful. And you could put any kind of a design in the middle that you wanted to put, or none. This plexiglass, that'll work. This one I haven't made one of yet, but it is just tile. And you know, you just break the tile here, whatever you wanted to do, and the same thing. You put the piece of tile right there, and you'd have to do something with the edges maybe, you know, get creative. But you could use a piece of towel, glue it right down, and that would work for a stand. And of course, we always have the wood. Any kind of wood. And you can do either solid wood or solid tile or solid glass or any combination of it, because the Gorilla Glue or the E6000 are going to stick them all together. So you can go through just any kind of wood, pretty wood, oak, mahogany, podock, spalted maple, whatever you wanted to do, and come up with some really, really great designs. You just need the equipment. You may need a power saw, you may need a tile saw, you may need a drill press, you may need any number of things, just depending. I can't imagine why you need a drill press, but you know, definitely diamond saws and lap grinders really work great. They help you out a lot. And pretty much that is kind of all there is to it. You know, it just depends on whether you want. Don't ever leave the edges rough. Then this is glass, folks. I'm gonna fold, just in winding this up, I'm gonna throw up in a little safety thing. This is glass that I've been working with originally. It will cut you, you know that. So don't, either wear gloves or immediately grind the edges. Can't tell you how many times I've been cut, and I'll continue to be cut because I'm stupid and I get in a hurry. But take your time, be safe, and see what you can do. Tell me what you think of these ideas. If you have an improvement on something or something I said that was wrong, and which could very well happen, but you know, if you have a correction or you have an addition or whatever, leave it in the comments below. I really like to talk to you people, and I get some great ideas. If there's something else you'd like to see me do, suggest it, and hopefully I will get around to it. So that's it. That is my video on display stands and where I'm at right now, and hopefully I can improve on it. If not, I got this far. So see what you guys can do. I appreciate it. Thank y'all for watching my video. I'm Captain Mike, and I'm out of here.